Okay, everybody, we're back. If you have your drawing from last time that we did for windows and doors, we can use that to do pathways and a few other things. If you don't have it, pause and get set up just like this. Paths are really easy actually, because if we use openings we already have, like in the doorways or below the windows, we can just extend out. So this receding line that goes inside the doorway here to zeta, if we just take that out the front a little bit, we have created one side of our path. If we then go from the other corner and we line up to zeta all the way over there, we can create the other side of the path. Once you have those lines, you can extend them, depending on if your ruler's long enough, or in my case, my paint stirrer. And now it looks like we have a pathway going into that space. If we want to give that pathway a little elevation to make it look a little more three-dimensional, what you can do is pick a point just above that, line up with your zeta, and extend in like so. And now our path there has a little bit of a elevation so that it looks more like a solid slab. Along with this, if you want to make it look more like a sidewalk, if you line up over with your delta point, you can fan out and create these lines that come across the surface. And if you do those kind of spaced out, you get this idea of kind of like a poured concrete sidewalk. Now at this point you would think you're done, but you're actually not, because with these lines coming across, you'd have a little bit of a line on the side there. So you actually have to line all the way up with your top point at epsilon, and from those lines you made, come down and put in those receding lines to your top vanishing point. And that is a way to make a pathway below the horizon line. You can kind of see, oh, that one wasn't too good. There we go, we'll move it over. Erase the excess. So there we have kind of our walkway on the ground. Now, there could be walkways that are coming out of the structure higher up, and a good way to do that is take something like a window, and what you actually have to do, and you're gonna lose a bit of your window, but if you line up from this side, if your window's on this right side, if we line up back with our delta point, we can actually extend out from both bottom corners. Do the same thing from the other bottom corner. Take those lines a little further. And then if we erase what's left underneath here, we kind of have this idea of, here's this pathway coming out of our building. Although I erased that bottom edge, which is not something I really wanted to do, but there we go. So now with that piece up there, we can add a thickness to it. We do that by picking a point a little higher up and extend our line. See that? Lovely. Now if you wanted to create the kind of sidewalk look, you can do that using not our delta point, but our zeta point. Then you can kind of come across and put in some of those other receding lines. Something that you might have a little trouble with in the beginning, but you'll get used to, is the spacing. Like right here, this looks a little thin compared to this piece, but I'm not worried about all those details right now, as we're just going through and understanding the process. Same thing true is down here. You had to extend those little parts. Up here, you do it as well. So hook those around and Now we have our pathway that is just kind of floating out from the building. Now when we're doing this, we can think, okay, we've got windows, doors, now we have paths. Let's add in columns. Columns work on the same principle as, I would say, making your large overall forms, but we kind of want to have them support other objects because this path couldn't just sit out here into the sky. So an easy way to do that is line up with delta and put a little line in one of your sections. From that, you would actually extend down from epsilon, going down, and then through the top of the path, going up. Okay? Same thing over on the other edge, down and up. All right? Now, if we use our delta point, we can kind of put an end cap on those, like so. And we can do it at the top as well. At this point, it's really helpful to erase any excess, erase where it's overlapped things, because it'll help you keep track of what you are doing. Now we have to put the side on this thing. Now, because we're on the right side of the paper, and this face is congruent with kind of this face in our overall view, we have to line up our edges with zeta. And the thing about that is we're getting real close to this vanishing point. So if we line up our corners with zeta, and especially this top one, it's gonna look really skewed, but that's okay, because what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it in, all the way down. All right, and we can see now where that zeta point is. We also have to line up with this corner here down to zeta, which is really gonna make it seem very, very skewed, almost to the point where it makes no sense at all. But that little line right there, that's the point we really need, because that is going to help us line up with our top point of epsilon. So from there, line up with epsilon, go down, and also go up. And what ends up happening is we're way out close by this vanishing point. But if we erase our extra stuff, I'm going to have to erase my little zeta there, we can see how this piece comes together to look like the column supporting that. All right, and there's our column supporting our walkway. Another way you could think about columns, is there any long skinny blocks? So like up from epsilon here, I could just make 3 little lines like that, cap it off down to my 2 points of zeta and delta, and there's my very skinny column-like piece. The only thing that really separates a column from an overall block is that it's normally supporting something, or in this case, I really think of columns as anything that's very thin and lean that you're putting in there that would maybe support another object on top. So there you have it. We just handled paths and columns. Coming up next, I think we need to get into some stairs and intersecting objects.